तमाम सब्ज क़बा, अरे सुरखरू मुझको कर गया कासिम, मौत का ज़ायक़ा है क्या कासिम, और जुल्फ़ें तेरी हवा जो छू के चली, जुल्फ़ें तेरी हवा जो छू के चली, सारा मक़तल महक उठा कासिम, सारा मक़तल महक उठा कासिम, तुमसे बेहतर किसे पता कासिम, मौत का ज़ायक़ा है क्या कासिम, और अब भी तारीख़ सोचती है हसन, अब भी तारीख़ सोचती है हसन, अरे सिर्फ तेरा बरस का था कासिम, अब भी तारीख़ सोचती है हसन, अब भी तारीख़ सोचती है हसन, सिर्फ तेरा बरस का था कासिम, सिर्फ तेरा बरस का था कासिम, तुमसे बेहतर किसे पता कासिम, मौत का ज़ायक़ा है क्या कासिम। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। एक मरतबा मिलजुल कर सब सलवात पढ़ेंगे। रंगी है खून से कर्बो बला, दूर दूर तक रंगी है खून से कर्बो बला, दूर दूर तक, अरे रंगी है खून से कर्बो बला, दूर दूर तक, अरे कासिम को ले गई है क़ज़ा, दूर दूर तक, कासिम को ले गई है क़ज़ा, दूर दूर तक, रंगी है खून से कर्बो बला, दूर दूर तक। ये दिन ऐसे हैं कि मौला कहाँ कहाँ से अपने लख्ते जिगर को इकट्ठा करके ला रहे हैं। गाजी कहाँ कहाँ से उठाए तुझे हुसैन, गाजी कहाँ कहाँ से उठाए तुझे हुसैन, अरे बिखरा हुआ है लाशा तेरा, दूर दूर तक। बिखरा हुआ है लाशा तेरा, दूर दूर तक रंगी है खून से कर्बो बला, दूर दूर तक। और लाला के शामियों ने गिराए हुसैन पर, लाला के शामियों ने गिराए हुसैन पर, पत्थर न कोई रण में बचा, दूर दूर तक। अरे पत्थर न कोई रण में बचा, दूर दूर तक रंगी है खून से कर्बो बला, दूर दूर तक। और अकबर की लाश तक कभी, कासिम की लाश तक, अकबर की लाश तक कभी, असगर की लाश तक, अरे शबीर कोहनियों पे चला, दूर दूर तक। अकबर की लाश तक कभी, कासिम की लाश तक, शबीर कोहनियों पे चला, दूर दूर तक रंगी है खून से कर्बो बला, दूर दूर तक। और चलता था, बहुत सख्त मसाइब है, पढ़ नहीं सकता बंदा। चलता था शिमर बालों से, थामे सरे हुसैन, चलता था शिमर बालों से, थामे सरे हुसैन, अरे गर्दन से खून बहता गया, दूर दूर तक चलता था शिम्र बालों से, थामे सरे हुसैन, अरे गर्दन से खून बहता गया, दूर दूर तक, और बालों से पकड़े दौड़ते घोड़ों के साथ साथ, बालों से पकड़े दौड़ते घोड़ों के साथ साथ, अरे मासूमा को चलाया गया, दूर दूर तक रंगी है खून से कर वो बला दूर दूर तक। और कहता था शिम्र नेज़ों पे इतनी करो बुलंद, कहता था शिम्र नेज़ों पे इतनी करो बुलंद, अरे सबको दिखाई दे ये रिदा दूर दूर तक। ओ कि कहता था शिम्र नेज़ों पे इतनी करो बुलंद, सबको दिखाई दे ये रिदा दूर दूर तक। रंगी है खून से कर वो बला दूर दूर तक। और उस रन में एक माँ अपने बच्चे को ढूंढती रही, अफसोस उसे ना मिला। मिला तो किसको? गुर्बत के पहले मिल गया नेज़ों को शीर खार, गुर्बत के पहले मिल गया नेज़ों को शीर खार। माँ ने बहुत तलाश किया दूर दूर तक। रंगी है खून से कर वो बला दूर दूर तक। और गाजी कहाँ कहाँ से उठाए तुझे हुसैन, गाजी कहाँ कहाँ से उठाए तुझे हुसैन। बिखरा हुआ है लाशा तेरा दूर दूर तक। रंगी है खून से कर वो बला दूर दूर तक। और कासिम को ले गई है क़ज़ा दूर दूर तक। रंगी है खून से कर वो बला दूर दूर तक। अला लानतुल्लाह अल कौमिज़ ज़ालिमीन। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद। अर्ज़ के शामी पर लानत। इसको मैं रख ही देता हूँ।
जी जी जी। Thank you, Brother Amir. That was very nice. Please join me in welcoming Brother Adnan to the podium with a loud salawat. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه ونور عرشه المبعوث رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك عليك سلام الله مني أبدا ما بقي الليل والنهار. To build your faith, there is a lot of requirements you have to follow to build your faith. Today, the night of Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan al-Askari, ibn al-Hasan al-Mujtaba, al-Hasan al-Sibt. How old is he? Maybe 12, 13, 16. Let's say 16. Some of the narrations said it's 16 years old. 16 years old, play game here in our generation now. Playing game, playing soccer, or wasting their time here and there. And when you tell him come to the masjid, he said, oh yeah, I will. And he come just sitting, playing in his phone. How this kid became like a hero, became a strong mu'min. He decided to sacrifice himself to Al-Imam al-Hussein, salamullahi alayh. Not just because Imam al-Hussein, his uncle, and he want to protect him, no. Because Imam al-Hussein is the representative of the religion of Prophet Muhammad, which is the Imam Muftarad al-Ta'a. We need to obey Imam Hussein salamullahi alayh. So let me ask a question. If the Imam Hussein came in today to the center and he said, I want you to protect me. But listen, when you protect me, everybody gonna die. What are you expecting? We're gonna do that? We're gonna follow him? Or at least, no, I don't think that's Imam Hussein. No, if Imam Hussein wanna kill us, no, Imam Hussein, he wanna give us a life, not kill us. So many of us, maybe he cannot do it. Cannot do it because we didn't prepare ourselves to be like that. Al-Imam Al-Hasan, salamullahi alayh, he wrote a will to his son Al-Qasim. You know he is Al-Qasim, he has Muhammad, and he's Al-Qasim. And I know we have a story about, or narration about Sukaina, or Sakina. She's going to be a wife of Al-Qasim in the night of Muharram. We have a kind of narration of that, like that. Before Imam al-Hasan, before the departure of Imam al-Hasan, salamullahi alayh, he wrote down some will. He gave it to Al-Qasim, or gave it to his mom. What's his mom name? Ramla, right? She kept that will with her till the day of the judgment. So Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan, he was very young, and because he's an innocent person, he's honest person, he doesn't expect like something else from the others. We have a principal war, even in Arab world, we have a principal war. If you don't have sword, nobody fights you. If you're fighting with somebody and you dropped your sword, they don't kill you. They grab your sword again. That's what it's kind of a principle. When you run away, you turn away from the war, they don't follow you. That's kind of a principle of the war. When you wounded, they don't kill you. Something like that. When they take you hostage, to capture you, they don't torture you or don't kill you. Or that's kind of principle of war. What that's the rules of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told his army, his follower, لا تقتلوا طفلا ولا تجهزوا على جريح ولا تتبعوا هاربا ولا شيخا كبيرا ولا امرأة ولا تقطعوا شجرة. Don't cut a tree. Don't follow the flee. When somebody run away from the war, don't follow him. Wounded, don't kill him. Kid, don't kill kid. Old man, don't kill old man. Don't kill women. This is every time before they go to the battle war, Prophet Muhammad gives that advice to the people. So in Ashura, there is no principle at all. The followers of Umayyah, they didn't follow anything of that, which is some of it is from the traditional, from Arab world. Arab world have some traditional rules, they follow it. And the Islam has also rules. And the humanity has rules. Sometimes you see somebody, he's dying. They shoot him and then they take him and treat him. When they take him, like when capture him, they take him and treat him. That's what the principle of. These people, subhanallah, Zainab salamullahi alayhi said one word. She said, كأن الله لم يجعل في قلب أحدهم الرحمة. Seems to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take away the mercy from their heart. When she stand and before them and she said, أما فيكم Muslim? Any Muslim among you? Thousands of people when Imam Hussein was in the ground. And she said, أما فيكم Muslim? Is there any Muslim among you? Nobody answer. Nobody responds. Cannot respond because when he responds, I'm Muslim, I say, okay, come on, protect Imam Hussein. Come on, give water to Imam Hussein. And then when he do that, they will kill him. The army or the follower of Ubaidillah bin Ziyad, they will kill him. So he want to save his life. But how long you going to stay alive after that? After the shahadat of Imam Hussein, how long you going to stay? You know what Imam Hussein said? Very beautiful word in Arabic. He said, Ibn Sa'ad, come here, I want to tell you something. إنكم لا تلبثون بعدي إلا كريث ما يركب الفرس فتدور بكم دور الرحى وتقلق بكم قلق المحور ثم لا تجدون من دون الله وليا ولا نصيرا. Do you think you're going to live long after me? I'll tell you what's going to happen to you. You're not going to live that long. And then your head, they're going to beheaded you and they put your head in the Kufa and the kids play with it. Remember what that. He started crying and he turned his way away from Imam al-Hussein. How many years after that? Few years. إنك لا دعيت أنك تقتلني. You said you're going to kill me and Ubaidillah bin Ziyad will give you authority or give you imara in بلاد السند وجرجان or بلاد الري وجرجان. No, that's not going to happen. So when he killed Imam Hussein, he went to bin Ziyad to give him what he promised him. He didn't give him. So he lost the dunya and he lost the akhirah. He has very famous poetry. In Arabic said, إني لحائر أفكر في أمر على خطرين أترك ملك الري والري منيتي أم أرجع مأثوما بقتل حسين حسين بن عمي والحوادث جمة ولي في الري قرة عيني إن صدقوا بما قالوا فإني تائب إلى الرحمن بعد سنتين. He said, I'm thinking about two things. One, to kill Imam Hussein, or to lose what Ubaidillah bin Ziyad telling me. I'm not going to lose that. But they said, he's not sure. They said Allah created hell and heaven. And if that's correct, I will repent after 2 years. Kill Imam Hussein after 2 years, I repent. I say astaghfirullah, I'm sorry, I did that. But subhanallah, he lost the dunya and he lost the akhirah. He's the one who ordered that. Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So in that day, when Imam al-Hussein said, ألا من ناصر فينصرني ألا من ذاب على الحرم رسول الله. Is there any protector? Anybody help us? Any Muslim among you? Anyone believe with Allah, even non-Muslim, but believe with Allah? Protect us, protect the family of Imam Hussein. Nobody responds. But Al-Qasim Salamullahi alayhi, when he heard his uncle saying that, he went out with his sword, with his father Imama, and his father shield. When he came here, Imam al-Hussein saw him and he remembered his brother Al-Hassan Salamullah. He started crying and he hugged him. He said, oh Bunay Qasim, go back to go back to the tents, go back to your mom. He said, and he ran away to his mom. He was crying. He said, Mom, Imam Hussein didn't let me fight. She told him, okay, wait a minute. She went to she has a box. She opened the box. He gave him a piece of paper. He came to Imam al-Hussein, was running. Oh, Uncle Hussein, I have something for you. When he opened it up, he said, that's from Al-Imam al-Hassan. Asking al-Qasim, he telling him, when you see your Uncle Hussein by himself, no protector, no supporter, please support him and have shahada. And I wait for you in the paradise. Subhanallah, Imam Hussein started crying. He cannot reject the will of his brother Al-Hassan. Why? Because Al-Hassan was Imam. And Imam Hussein considered Al-Hassan his Imam. He has to listen to him and follow him. So he said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So when Imam Al-Qasim Salamullah, he grabbed his sword to fight, he was wearing like a shoes and the shoes broke. In the principal war, when you're not ready to fight, nobody fights you. They're waiting for you to be ready. That's what the principal war. When he's a kid, he's just 15, 16, 14 years old. When they saw him that he was busy to fix his shoes, because there is some principle as well. You cannot go to the battle without shoes. That's shame. And he is the son of Imam al-Hassan. He is the son, the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's why, so what he did, he tried to tie his shoes again, and somebody hit him in his head and killed him. After he fight a little bit, and then he came back to fix his shoes. And then this guy hit him. When he got hit, he called his uncle. Oh, Uncle Hussein. Aba Hussein, alayka minni salam, ya Am Hussein. So Hussein came to him and he saw him like that. And he killed the person who killed him. And then he did some move. It's very painful. Imam Hussein, he can't grab him. He can't hold him. He's a strong man. And like he's 16 or 15 or 14 years old. He's just a kid. But Imam al-Hassan grabbed him like that. He put him in his chest, and his legs were, to show the people, show everybody to see what you did to me. Oh, this is my nephew. This is the son of Imam al-Hassan. So he took him to the tents, which is everyone from Ahlul Bayt there was there, like Ali al-Akbar, because Ali al-Akbar the first one. He put him beside Ali al-Akbar, and when Zainab saw Imam al-Hussein holding Al-Qasim alayhi salam, she said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, and started crying. And all the women and his mom, which Ramla, came to him and hugged him, and she taken from his blood and put it in her hair, in her face. Inna lillahi وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. صل يا رب على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Very nice, Brother Adnan. Now I'll request all of you to please join me in welcoming Dr. Takim to the podium with a loud salawat for Muhammad.
الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين
والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نهبا ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. صلوا على محمد وآله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I was talking yesterday about some of the fadail of the Ahlul Bayt, which are to be found not in our books, but in the books of others. I just set up a couple of points to finish off before I go on to my main topic for today, which is the akhlaq that has been taught to us by the Ahlul Bayt and the Quran itself, our mode of behavior. But before that, as I said, in the time of Imam al-Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam, you know, our Imams were always referred to as the sons or the children of the Prophet. But the Arab mentality was very different, that inheritance comes only through the father, not through the, or through the son, not through the daughter. So Harun al-Rashid was the Khalif of the time of the seventh Imam, called the Imam. He says, you call yourself Ibn Rasulullah, but the Prophet did not have a son who survived him. How can you be the son of the Prophet through Fatima? Because he did not have a son. Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam answered him, says, Ya Harun, at-taqra'ul Quran? Do you recite the Quran? He says, of course I recite the Quran. The Quran says, وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِهِ, amongst the sons or amongst the offsprings of Ibrahim, Dawuda wa Sulaymana wa Ayyuba wa Yusufa wa Musa wa Harun. All these were the descendants of Ibrahim. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and that's how we do good to those who do good. And then the Quran continues, وَزَكَرِيَّا وَيَحْيَا وَإِيسَى, and amongst the descendants of Ibrahim was Yahya, Zakaria, and Isa. Isa had no father. How did Isa become the descendant of Ibrahim? It had to be through Maryam alayhi salam. So if Maryam was the link between Ibrahim and Isa, why can't Fatima to Zahra be the link between me and the Prophet himself? In other words, it is perfectly within the Quran that a person can be a descendant of a prophet through the daughter or through a woman, not necessarily through the son. These attributes or the akhlaq and the fadail of Ahlul Bayt were attributed not only through the Imams but also through the companions of the Imams. These companions, and there were many of them, they were prepared to give their lives for the various Imams. We're not only talking about Imam Hussein. One of the greatest companion of Imam Ali was Hujr ibn Adi, although we also call Hujr ibn Uday, buried on the outskirts of Damascus. If you go there today, by the way, I've been there, you will actually see some of the shellings of those bullets fired by ISIS. They got pretty close, but they did not quite get close to the grave of Hujra. This idea that they actually dug up the grave is a myth. They did not do that. In any case, Hujr was called by Muawiyah. He used to live in Damascus. Muawiyah called Hujr. He says, Ali was very unfair to you. Hujr is told by Muawiyah that Ali was very unfair to you. How do you say that? He said, because at the Battle of Siffin, his sons, that is Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, were alive, whereas your sons were killed. Hujr's sons were killed at Siffin, but Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein were still alive. Hujr said, oh Muawiyah, you have never truly understood us. He says, why? He says, it's not Ali who has been unfair to me, I have been unfair to him. He says, how can you be unfair to Ali? He says, because today Ali is dead and I'm alive. I should have died before Ali ibn Abi Talib. In another instance, And as I said, these companions were very, very loyal to the cause of Imam Ali. Muhammad bin Hudhayfa al-Yamani. Muhammad, again, was imprisoned by Muawiyah. The reason why he was in prison was the only crime, if you like, was the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Muawiyah called Muhammad from the prison. He says, you want to go free? Of course, everybody wants to go free. So the only thing you have to do is to go on the minbar and curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. You curse him and you are free. At that time, Muhammad bin Hudhayfa says to Muawiyah, this is very courageous and daring of him. He says, O Muawiyah, from the time that you are a kafir until today, your Islam has made no difference to you at all. Your Islam is only superficial. Because if you truly know the status of Ali ibn Abi Talib, you would not be asking me to do this. O Muawiyah, I will go and die and rot in the prison, but I will never curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. And as he was being led back to the prison, Muhammad bin Hudhayfa quotes the Quran. You remember the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. When he is being led to the prison, he says, Ya Rabbi, as-sijnu ahabbu ilayya mimma yad'unani ilayhi. Oh my Lord, the prison is better for me than what they are asking me to do. I would rather go to prison and die, but I will not do what they are asking me to do. The next one is actually a hypothetical one. I have translated a book written by Muhammad Tijani. You remember the one who wrote, Then I Was Guided. One of his books was called Fas'alu Ahla Dhikr. I did not put my name on the cover for obvious reasons, but it meant ask those who know. It's a book translated in English. And I came across this hypothetical scenario of how some people's minds are totally messed up. The situation is concerning Hujr again. Again, it's hypothetical. Whereas a person goes to Damascus and at the grave of Hujr he sees a sheikh is crying. So the person says, Ya sheikh, why are you crying? So this is the grave of Hujr ibn Adi raziyallahu anhu. What happened to Hujr ibn Adi raziyallahu anhu? Says Hujr raziyallahu anhu was killed by Muawiyah raziyallahu anhu. He says, really, why did Muawiyah raziyallahu anhu kill Hujr ibn Adi raziyallahu anhu? He says, because Hujr raziyallahu anhu refused to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib raziyallahu anhu. And therefore Muawiyah raziyallahu anhu killed Hujr raziyallahu anhu. The man said, oh Sheikh, we are so messed up, raziyallahu anka also. May Allah have mercy on you too. If both parties are fighting each other, how can Allah be pleased with both of them? And we know where the truth lies because the Prophet said, Al-haqqu ma'ali wa aliyun ma'al haqq. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali. As I say, everybody wants to be Raziyallahu anhu, but we know who are the true ones whom Allah is pleased with. The next anecdote is not by a companion, but one of our greatest scholars. See, our scholars were very well trained in the history, in the theology, and above all, how to respond. This scholar is a very famous scholar, Sheikh al-Mufid. He wrote 200 books. We write 1 or 2 books with him, mashallah, we've done a big thing. 200 books at least. He used to live in Baghdad, and he was what we call in Urdu Hazir Jawab tha. You know Hazir Jawab. Very witty, he could answer immediately. So he was sitting in a session with a Sunni scholar by the name of Rumana. And Rumana was talking about Ghadir and the event of the cave. Ghadir, we know what happened at Ghadir. Event of the cave was where the Prophet and the first Caliph were in the cave. And Rumana says that Ghadir is a riwayah. Riwayah means riwayat mein hai, tradition. Whereas the event of the cave is a diraya, means it's in the Quran, it's a real thing. So Ghadir, maybe it happened, maybe it did not happen, according to him. And the event of the cave definitely happened because of what happened in the Quran, is mentioned in the Quran. At that time, Sheikh al-Mufid says, Ya Sheikh, what do you say about a person who fights against the Imam of the time? What do you say about a person who fights against the Imam of the time? He says, anybody who fights against the Imam of the time is a kafir. He is a kafir completely. You can never stand against a just imam of the time. You cannot fight against him. Therefore, Sheikh Mufid says, well, what do you say about those who fought against Ali ibn Abi Talib at Jamal and at Siffin? What do you say about them, especially the wife of the Prophet? Rumana said, well, she repented. They always give, it's amazing how people come up with these solutions. When I was teaching one class and I was talking about the Battle of the Camel, one of my students was Ahlul Sunnah. He said, yes, but she came there to make peace. I said, Ajib. She came there to make peace. She was the one who was leading the battle. And she came to, in any case, so Rumana said that she actually repented. Mufid being what Mufid was, he said, the fact that she led the battle is a diraya. The fact that she repented is a riwayah. In other words, the fact that the battle took place because of her is a true event. Nobody can doubt it. Whether she repented or not is a riwayah. Maybe she did, maybe she did not. We cannot twist history the way that we like. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alayhi. In today's world, we are searching for the divine. We often talk of our identity. I'm Canadian, I'm American, that's our national identity. We have other identities too. I'm Khoja, I'm Pakistani, that's our other identity. We have ethnic identities. We have religious identities. One identity that we always forget about is our spiritual identity. How close are we to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Are we really bonded towards Him? This quest for the spiritual identity gives us our true values of who we are as human beings. Therefore, one of the poets said something very correctly. This was referring to about our feelings of Abu Abdullah, Imam Hussein. He said, if you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for. If you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for. In other words, you must have certain values, principles that you are prepared to give your life for. Otherwise, your life is meaningless. Therefore, one of the things that we need to reflect on is the word akhlaq. The word akhlaq means etiquettes or manners or behavior. It comes from the word khulq. Khulq means our disposition, how we were created. But that khulq, our inner trait, our inner characteristic, is given to us by the Khaliq. There is a connection between the Khaliq, between the khulq and the makhluqat. All these are connected. In other words, how I behave with you, how you behave with me is based on the akhlaq that Allah has put within me. Because those traits or attributes come from the Khaliq Himself. So there is a connection between the Khaliq, the khulq, and the makhluqat. There is what we may call an ethical language, a language which connects us as all human beings. As the Quran reminds us, this is another one that is easy to remember. I was telling you yesterday, who remembers what is 33? Ayat al-Tathira and 555? You remember that? That was Ayatul Wilaya of Imam Ali. In any case, this is 30, chapter 30, verse 30. فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. That set your deen, your path towards that one, towards God. This is a fitrah that Allah has created within you. That fitrah not only orients us, connects us with Allah, but also to all human beings. There is something, there's what we call the ethical language. When I saw George Floyd and what happened to him, you remember? Something told you that what is happening is not right. You do not know him. You did not know him. We did not know him. But there is something which told us that killing an innocent human being is wrong. This is what we mean by a fitrah, a disposition, something that is connecting all of us together. In Islam, there is also ethics in every aspect of our behavior. Akhlaq covers not only how we speak, how we talk, how we move, how we behave, what we dress. That is also part of the akhlaq. Even how the tongue moves, that is also part of the akhlaq. And the Quran gives us a beautiful lesson on the question of akhlaq itself. My sisters and brothers, remember this much. When a tree grows, it doesn't grow one way. It grows two ways. Before it grows up, it must grow down. In other words, before the leaves come and the branches grow, it must have the roots. Without roots, there can be no tree. And growing down is far more difficult because it has to go through the ground, in complete darkness, establish itself in firmity before it can actually grow up in the sky. And therefore the Quran says in chapter 14, Kalimatan tayyiba kashajaratin tayyiba. A good word is like a good tree. Asluha thabitun wa shar'uha wa faruha fis sama. The branches, the roots rather, are firmly established in the ground. And the branches grow out in the heavens. In other words, what you say must be a good word which must come from your heart, not from the tongue. Because what comes from the heart will rest in the heart. What comes from the tongue will go out from one ear and out in the next. The Quran tells us, therefore, that speak a good word. But those words which you mean, which come from your heart, not only from the tongue. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. The morality or the ethics of the Quran is seen and personified by the Prophet himself. The Quran gives us a clear indication that the character of the Prophet was based on akhlaq. Innaka ala khuluqin azim. You are at the highest level of khulq, O Muhammad. One of the wives of the Prophet was asked that what sort of a person was Muhammad? What sort of a man was he? And she responded, he lived the Quran. He lived the Quran, meaning what the Quran was in book form, the Prophet was that Quran in human form. If you ever wanted to see how the Quran would be in a human being, look at the character of the Prophet himself. That is why you'll remember that in our belief system, we believe that only 1/10 of your behavior is religious. 9/10 of your iman is in how you behave with others. Only 1/10 is ibadat. 9/10 is based on mu'amalat. Why does the Quran emphasize ethics so much? The Quran is full of values, by the way. The Quran talks more about ethics, about values, about honesty, about justice, about aql, and so on, than it talks about laws. Our laws do not come from the Quran. Most of our laws, the bases are in the Quran, but most of the laws come from the hadith. The center of the Quran is akhlaqiyat, because akhlaq builds a human being, makes him what he is or what she is. Therefore, the Quran says very much that it's only a person who's got akhlaq, who's got with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remove Allah from your lives, then Allah will make you forget himself and yourself too. وَلَا تَكُونُ كَالَّذِينَ نَسَوا اللَّهَ, the Quran says. Do not be like those who forgot Allah. فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ. And therefore He made them forget themselves. In other words, we lose track of our conscience as human beings. You lose track of your akhlaq, then who you are, what you are, becomes meaningless in your life. Therefore, the Quran tells us very, very clearly that when you lose touch with your conscience, you lose touch with your inner voice. When a person loses touch with his or her inner voice, you know what happens? The voice do not talk to him. He can do wrong but not even feel it. That sort of a person is away from the akhlaq of the Ahlul Bayt. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. See, many times people feel that if I pray and I fast, then my sins will be wiped away. It doesn't work like that, my friends. In order to purify ourselves spiritually, we must purify ourselves morally too. The two are deeply connected. You can pray all you like, you can fast as much as you like, but if a person is immoral, he cheats, he defrauds others, then those prayers are of no value at all. Let me give you an example, okay? You are about to pray. You do your wudu, your clothes are clean, everything is clean. You are ready to pray. There's only one problem. The place that you are going to pray is ghasbi, maqsoob. You, the owner of the place, is not happy that you pray there. Can you pray there? No, why not? You're praying to Allah, everything is pure. It's as if Allah is telling you that if you do not purify yourself morally, you cannot purify yourself spiritually. If you want to be spiritual, you have to be moral. If you have to be moral, you have to be spiritual also. We cannot separate religion from ethical behavior itself. Furthermore, our faith is connected with our actions. We cannot separate iman wa amalus salih. Notice almost every time the Quran says وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. No, amalus salih is mentioned no less than 120 times. 120 times in the Quran itself. If the Quran says, if you have belief, your actions must be upright too. Because without the two, you cannot approach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so that salvation, your safety cannot be guaranteed if your actions are impure. Many of us do good. Sometimes we go and help somebody, charity work. Somebody is in need, we go and visit them. My sisters and brothers, I want you to pay attention to this. There are 4 steps towards khair, towards goodness. One is to know what is good. Second is to do good. Not only you know good, but you do good. The third step, which is even further, that is you become good. When you become good, goodness comes out of you without even you thinking, because you are good. It's just like you take an orange, huh? You take an orange, you squish it, what happens? What will come out? Not apple juice, orange juice will come out, because there is orange within it. When you are squished, but nothing but goodness comes out of you, know that there is goodness within you too. You know what is good, you do good, you become good, and then you spread goodness around you. Because of you, others are attracted towards that purity and piety. This is what the Quran means. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ صَلُّوا عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ وَآلِهِ. So you become good, so much so that goodness comes out of you. And the best example, and there are so many examples one can give, is Ali ibn Abi Talib. What can we say about this Imam, huh? Every time you talk of ethics and akhlaqiyat and virtue, the name of Ali comes on the top of your tongue. We are at Siffin. Muawiyah was there first. Muawiyah is, as I mentioned yesterday, has no scruples. He doesn't have the akhlaq. He's very clever, shrewd. He orders his army to go and take the waters from the Euphrates, to conquer the water. Ali comes there and he finds that the water has been occupied. People said, can we go and ask Muawiyah for some water? Ali says, you can ask him, but he will not give it to you, because he knows how to win battles. The Imam Ali ordered an army to go and reoccupy that water. He was able to capture the river. The people now go running to Muawiyah. Oh Muawiyah, we have lost the water now. What shall we do? Without water, we're going to die. Muawiyah says, go and get the water. He says, but we stopped Ali getting it. He says, there's a difference between Muawiyah and Ali ibn Abi Talib. Because water is a ni'mah, is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot deny water to any human being, not even to an animal. You cannot deny water even to an animal. And therefore Muawiyah says, go and I will tell you that Ali ibn Abi Talib will give you water. Imam Ali says, come and take water as much as you like. Not only you, but even the animals, make them drink water, because water is a ni'mah, a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we mean by the virtues and akhlaq of the Imams. Many a time people say that we represent God. Inni ja'ilu lin-nas khalifa fil ard. That I'm going to make my khalifa, my representative on earth. This is a verse from the Quran. We believe that because we are the representative, the khalifatullah on earth, therefore we represent God. My friends, we don't just represent God, we reflect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We reflect means the attribute that He's put within us, we are supposed to reflect without in our behavior. The Quran says in Surah Al-Qasas, Surah number 28 in the Quran, وَأَحْسِن كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ. Do good because Allah has made you good. do good to others, do beautiful deeds, because Allah has made you beautiful. In other words, reflect those attributes in your behavior, because Allah has made you beautiful. Sometimes I believe that we can learn a lot from nature. I'm a great watcher of nature programs. I watch them almost every night before I go to sleep. To me, nature is the best Muslim. Best Muslims, in other words, it always submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nature does not say, well, today I'm not going to obey Allah. The sun always rises in the east and sets in the west. The earth always revolves a certain axis. Nature always obeys Allah. It's the best Muslim. But so we can learn certain things from nature. Look at nature itself. It never does things for itself. It does it for others. The sun does not shine on itself. It shines on us. The rivers never drink their own water. It makes others drink their water. The trees grow fruits, but have you ever seen a tree eat its own fruit? In other words, nature is telling us, when you lead your life, lead it for others, not for yourselves. What impact do you have? How you touch other human beings' lives? That is the quality of a true believer. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. How you can touch and impact the life of others. Because at the end of our lives, the one question that we should ask ourselves, what did I do for other human beings? How did I touch and impact others? Something that we should ask ourselves every night, I should say, not just at the end of our lives. The Quran not only talks about akhlaq, but that there are stages in akhlaq. There are ways and stages, daraja of behavior also. You'll remember that very famous hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where the Prophet says, بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have been sent to perfect the morals. Have you understood what he's saying? He did not say, I have been sent to show you the morals. I have been sent to perfect the morals. In other words, there are levels of morality. The Prophet is inviting us, pulling us towards the highest level of morality that we can have as human beings. Many a time I feel that we focus more on the law than on the ethics. We focus on how to pray rather than why we are praying. We are focused more on the legality of Islam than on the morality of Islam. Remember this much, the laws of Islam are there in order to put the moral values of Islam into practice. In other words, when we do something, we are told that do this and don't do this. There is a reasoning behind this. Allah doesn't put laws just for the sake of putting laws in practice. Those laws are supposed to make us better human beings. And therefore, behind every law, there is an ethical precept, an ethical value behind it. Inna salata tanha anil fahshai wal munkar. The prayers that you offer is not only to get the Jannah, my friends. You don't pray for Jannah, but the Quran says, Inna salata tanha anil fahshai wal munkar, because the prayers keep you away from that which is corrupt and that which is forbidden. Prayers are supposed to make us better human beings. Kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba lalladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. The siyam, the fasting, has been ordained on you just as it was prescribed on others before you, so that you may attain piety. In other words, these laws of Islam are there, are put in place in order for us to implement the ethical values of Islam. Many a time, as I say, we define Sharia. How do we define it? Divine law. I would say Sharia is divine law with divine morality. Because without morality, there will be no laws. As I said, sometimes we forget. We forget and we just emphasize the laws without the morality. I'll give you an interesting, this is a true example, by the way. It's a true example. You may find it funny, but it's a reality. During the time of COVID, you remember COVID, I was teaching and all our classes were online at that time because there was no in-person classes. And one of the things that students are allowed to do, was to chat to each other, which is perfectly okay, to help each other, etc. What my students did not know, that one of the students among these was my own TA, teaching assistant. They did not realize it. Most of my students are Muslim students. There was a quiz that was coming up, and they were talking to each other how to cheat. These are Muslim students. They were telling each other, how shall we tell each other the answers? They were sending codes, but I was getting all the information through my TA. Cheating is one thing. Asking Allah to help you cheat is another. They were cheating and they said, Inshallah we will do is this. MashaAllah we will do that. Arey bhai, you are cheating and you are asking Allah, bringing Allah in between. How can you do that? Subhanallah, we did a great thing. And when they found out that I knew all their MashaAllah and Subhanallah became Inna Lillah, they all got zeros. And I told them very clearly, next time I catch you, you are out of the university. Because as an educator, I am required to report this to the academic integrity. So I had to do that. But they were all given warnings. But that just goes to show that we emphasize the outside. I asked a mullah once, a long time ago when I was a student, in England, they have what you call the dole, D-O-L-E. Dole means a person who is unemployed, doesn't have a job, but he works under the table, so to speak. In other words, he is working, but he's not declaring his or her income. So I asked mullah, I said, is this jais? Is it okay? He says, it is halal, but it is unethical. I said, what? Halal means unethical? Are we saying that Sharia is unethical then? That becomes problematic highly, isn't it? It means that we can steal and the Sharia says it's okay. You cannot do that, my friends, because the Sharia is based on that which is halal itself. It is not based on immorality at all. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. My sisters and brothers, as human beings, as all human beings, we all have that fitrah. That means that we are connected by the morality. The fitrah connects us at a moral level in human beings. Therefore, the Quran does not distinguish wherever there is dhulm, for example. It does not distinguish saying you must only help Muslims who are being oppressed. It says wherever there is dhulm, you have to take a stand, even if it's a non-Muslim. The Quran even says, Man qatala nafsan bi ghayri nafsin aw fasadin fil ard faka'annama qatala nasa jami'a. You kill one innocent soul. The Quran doesn't say Muslim soul. You kill one innocent soul, you have killed the whole of humanity. وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. That you save one innocent human being, whether regardless of his belief or his faith, you save one human being, you have saved the whole of humanity. That's the sense of akhlaqiyat that the Quran is teaching us. قُلِ النَّاسِ حُسْنًا, the Quran says. When you speak to who? To human beings. Speak to them in a beautiful way. This idea of the akhlaq is very much deeply rooted in the Quran itself. And therefore, the Quran tells us in Surah Al-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 125, the Quran says, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'idhati al-hasana." That invite people to the path of your Lord with maw'idha, with admonishment, with preaching, but in proper, beautiful preaching. وَلَا تُجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. And when you talk to them, you're talking to whom? You're talking to non-Muslims because we are inviting them towards Islam. When you talk to them in the most beautiful way. The Quran doesn't talk to them in a good way, nice way, the most beautiful way. This is the akhlaqiyat that we are supposed to exhibit to others, especially to others. One of the akhlaqiyat, and there are so many others that we can talk of, is that of forgiveness. It's very difficult for us to establish forgiveness. Amalus Saleh that I was mentioning about is a wide range of works. It's not only to give in charity, that's only one part of it. To smile at a person is Amalus Saleh. To visit the sick is Amalus Saleh. To go and help a person cross the road if they cannot is Amalus Saleh. And one of the Amalus Saleh is what, forgiveness. I remember when I was with a group, we had met with Ayatollah Sistani, and one of my persons in the group said, out of the blue, asked the Ayatollah that from your experience, what can you share with us? What would you like to share with us from your experience? Without even thinking, the Ayatollah says, learn to forgive. Learn to forgive. Khudhul afu, the Quran says, that take forgiveness. Because as long as you do not forgive, you do not heal. When somebody does wrong to you, if you do not learn to forgive, you do not heal, you are always carrying that problem within you, that he did this, he did it to me. Arey Bapa, how much you did wrong to others. Before we remember how others treated us, how did we treat others? And therefore, one of the key elements in forgiveness is that we remember our own wrongs to others. Then we remember what others have done wrong to us. And therefore, there's a very beautiful and important lesson, again, from Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. At the Battle of the Camel, we've heard of the Battle of the Camel. The battle is over. Ali ibn Abi Talib has vanquished. He has won. And now he's burying the dead. But look at this Imam of ours. He does not only bury his soldiers, he buries even his enemies also. After all, they are Muslims. They have to be buried also. Aisha sends him, that is Imam Ali, a message. Please pardon Abdullah ibn Zubair. It was her nephew. Abdullah ibn Zubair was a nephew of Aisha. Please pardon him. Imam Ali says, why only him? Why not others? As long as they do not fight up against me again, everybody is forgiven. This is Ali ibn Abi Talib, his sense of forgiveness. That everybody, as long as they do not rise up and create fitna against me, we would find it very difficult to forgive those who had killed close relatives or friends of ours. But this is the character of Ali ibn Abi Talib, even the character of the Prophet himself. We all know what he did when he conquered Mecca. He says, Antum tulaqa. You are freed. You are forgiven now. Those same people who plotted to kill him, that same lady who ate the liver of Hamza, they were all forgiven by the Prophet. This is part of the akhlaqiyat that we are supposed to remember. And I want to quote just one of the words before we go to the Masa'ib. Qala, this is the story of Yaqub. Yaqub, when the people, his own children, asked for forgiveness. After all, what had they done? They took Yusuf, put him in a well, and then pretended that he was eaten by a wolf. When the children, his own children, come seeking forgiveness, he says, Qala sawfa astaghfiru lakum. I will ask Allah to forgive you. This is Yaqub. Not only will I forgive you, I will do istighfar for you too. You are free today. Azadarana Hussein, the days of Muharram are passing very fast. We remember, when we talk of the akhlaq, we remember the humanity of Hussein ibn Ali. He has showed us so many lessons. It wasn't only the question of sacrifice. It's a question of how you behave with your enemies and with your friends. You remember the story very much, that he meets Hur in the middle of the desert. He meets Hur and he sees that the army of Hur is very thirsty. Even the animals are thirsty. What does Imam Hussein do? He turns to his army and says, Isqaul qawm, give them water. Not only them, but even the animals, give them water. Because he remembers what his father had taught him, that water is for everybody else. It's a blessing from Allah. They drink water on the day of Ashur. This is a lesson for us to remember. When Hur sees what is happening, Hur behaves in a way which we find very perplexing. Muhajir comes to Hur and says, Hur, what is happening to you? If somebody would ask me, who is the bravest soldier in the army, I would say, it is you. What is happening to you today? How do you behave like this? You seem totally lost. Hur says, Muhajir, come with me. They go closer to the tents of Hussein. Hur says, can you hear those voices? Can you hear those children crying for water? These are the children of the Prophet. We are denying them water. We are prepared to kill them. Inni ukhayyiru nafsi bayna al-jannah wan-nar, Hur says. I'm choosing within myself between heaven and hell. I know what I have done, what is wrong. Hur, with a few, his son and his slave, he comes to Sayyid al-Shuhada. He comes to Imam Hussein. He turns his spear upside down. When you turn your shield upside down, in Arab culture, it meant that you came for peace, not for war. Look at Imam Hussein. If Hur is showing us how to do istighfar, Hussein is showing us how to forgive. This is the akhlaq of Hussein. Hussein sees Hur coming. He says to Abbas, go and get my guest. Go and receive him. He's coming towards me. Hur comes to Imam Hussein. He falls at the feet of Hussein. Says, "Qad ji'tuka ta'iban mimma kana minni." I have come repentant to you. Is there a way that you can forgive me? If Hur is showing us how to seek istighfar, what does Hussein do? He lifts Hur up and he says, "Oh Hur, you are as noble and as free as your mother has named you. Your mother has named you well. When we go to Karbala, inshallah, one of the ziyarat that we will recite is that of Janab Hur. In that ziyarat, we quote this particular anecdote of Imam Hussein, that he said to Hur, "Oh Hur, your mother has named you well. You are as free and as noble in this world as you are in the next world." Azadarana Hussein. Tonight we want to talk about a young boy, a boy who was a representative of Hassan in Karbala. On the eve of Ashur, when Hussein is assembling his army, he tells them, "Oh people, tomorrow will be our end. You may leave me now. They only want me." When the army refused to leave him, one of the young boy who comes up to him was Qasim. Qasim comes to Imam Hussein and says, "Oh my uncle, will I also die tomorrow?" Qasim is not even baligh. Will I also die tomorrow? Hussein asks a question. He says, "Ya Qasim, kayfa al-maut indak?" How do you see death? This is how the Ahlul Bayt have taught their children to perceive death. What does a young boy answer? "Ahla min al-asal." It is sweeter than honey. I will drink death, but I will die in front of you. Hussein says to Qasim, according to some riwayat, "Oh Qasim, not only will you die tomorrow, but even Ali Asghar will die tomorrow. Even the little baby will die. I will take him to the people and they will kill him." That particular night was spent with the istighfar. The companions of Imam Hussein were doing the du'as. A time comes on the day of Ashur when a person was saying yesterday that look in the names of the Sahaba, of those who were killed for Imam Hussein, you'll find many names that you've never heard of. One of them is Amr bin Janada. It is an amazing story of Amr bin Janada. Janada was one of the companions of Hussein, a man who went and gave his life for Hussein. After he dies, the mother, the wife of Amr, of Janada, that is the mother of Amr, says to her son, Amr is only 10 years old. Amr is 10 years old. The mother calls Amr, says, "Oh Amr, your father has given his life. Now I want you to go and give your life too." What sort of a lady is this? But look at the bravery, the courage of this woman, that she tells her own son, "Amr, I want you to give your life." Amr, who is barely 10 years old, he comes to Hussein and he says, "Oh, Yabna Rasulillah, oh my uncle, I want to give my life." Hussein says, "Amr, have you talked to your mother?" He says, "My mother has asked me to come to you. She wants me to give my life." When Amr goes and fights the army, these are so-called Muslims, not do they only they kill little Amr, they cut off his head and throw it to the mother. They throw it at the mother. Azadar and Hussein, these people call themselves Muslims, but in reality, when a Muslim wants to pray, you let them pray. They would not even let the grandson pray in peace. A time comes on the day of Ashur when Qasim comes to Hussein, "Oh my uncle, I want to give my life." Hussein says, "Oh Qasim, how can I let you go? You are the nishan, the mark of my brother." Qasim comes back to his mother. Farwa says, "Oh my mother, my uncle will not let me go." According to riwayat, Farwa opens a little tawiz. In that tawiz is a note in which Imam Hassan says that if on the day of Ashur my brother does not let you fight, show him this note and he will let you go. Qasim comes to Hussein, says, "Oh my uncle, this is the message of my father to you." Hussein reads that note from his brother. He cries aloud, says, "Qasim, I cannot stop you anymore. This is the wish of my father." Hussein puts the little boy Qasim on the horse. Qasim is so young. It is said that even his feet would not reach the bottom of the saddle. Qasim goes to the battlefield. Hussein keeps looking at him. Qasim looks at his uncle. The army surrounds Qasim, this young little boy, a handsome young boy. They surround him, but they are hesitant to kill him. One of the enemies comes and hits Qasim. Qasim falls on the ground. "Assalamu alayka ya amma. Adrikni ya amma. Help me, oh my uncle." This is the only time on the day of Ashur that Hussein rushes to the army. "You dare kill my nephew. Don't you know who you are attacking?" As Hussein goes towards the army retreats. They are scared to fight Hussein. As they retreat, they trample over the body of Qasim. Hussein reaches the body of Qasim. He says, "Oh Qasim, if only I would have reached you in time. I'm embarrassed that you called out to me and I could not help you." The final scene, Azadar and Hussein, as Hussein brings the body of Qasim back to the tent. Now the legs are so tall that they are actually touching the ground. Matame Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, उठा भाई उठा मेरा फोन उठा. Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. Mama Karbala diya mama, Mama Karbala diya mama, Mama Karbala diya mama, Mama Karbala diya mama, Mama Karbala diya. सारे पुरसा दे भाई. मामा करबला दिया मामा, मामा करबला दिया मामा, मामा करबला दिया मामा. है मामा करबला दिया मामा, मामा करबला मामा करबला दिया मामा, मामा दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा बोलो
करबला दिया मावा
है पुत्रा दिया लाशा दे टुकड़े भैया लब दिया विच सहरावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया मावा पुत्रा दिया लाशा दे टुकड़े रया लब विच सहरावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा कुर्सा भाई करबला दिया मावा सब्र दे मालिक नू सैन लैला के इज़्न जे देवे ते मैं सब्र दी सांझ च अकबरे सीने चो सांग आवा आवा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया हसी भाई आगे हो मावा करबला दी जगह दो भाई है मावा करबला दिया मावा सब्र दे मालिक नू सैन लैला के इज़्न जे देवे ते मैं सबर दी सांग च अकबर दे सीने चो सांग हटावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला माशाल्लाह है मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा आखे माँ कासिम दी माते एहसान करी देर तई लड़ दारवी तेरे टुकड़े मुताबिक दुनिया ने मेरे वीर हुसैन दिसावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया मावा आखे माँ कासिम दी माते एहसान करी देर तई लड़ दारवी तेरे टुकड़े मुताबिक बदनिया ने मेरे वीर हुसैन दिसावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा जियो भाई मावा करबला दिया मावा शिमर दे कंजर करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया मावा सुन के भाई शिमर दे खंजर दे वार जहरा रोके नाल सैन कवे मैं चक्कियां पीस के पाल असी किवें हथ करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा शिमर दे खंजर दे वार जहरा रोके नाले सैन कवे मैं चक्कियां पीस के पाल असी किवें घत गर्दन तो चावा मावा करबला दिया मावा करबला दिया मावा हाय मावा करबला दिया मावा हाय मावा करबला दिया मावा है जदों कैदी होके लंगिया मकतल चों वैन ज़ैनब कीता लाशावल मावा ना वेखण किते रुक ना जावन सावा मावा करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया मावा करबला दिया मावा सारे बोले भाई मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा सुनो भाई करबला दिया मावा वैन कलसूम दासी लाल सुन के लाल मन के गाजी तेनू मैं पालिया सी वैन कलसूम दासी लाल मन के गाजी तेनू मैं पालिया सी मेरे सिर दी चादर है भी लथ गई जदों लतिया तेरिया बावा बावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया मावा वैन कलसूम दासी लाल मन के गाजी तेनू मैं पाले असी मेरे सिर दी चादर है भी लथ गई जदों लथिया तेरिया बावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा मावा करबला दिया मावा है मावा करबला दिया मावा पुत्रा दिया लाशां दे टुकड़े रहिया लब दिया विच सहरावा मावा करबला दिया मावा 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 है शिमर दे खंजर दे वार जहरा रोके